good spot.
Okay, we're back. Couch Confessions. This is Jeff. You want to introduce yourself?
You're doing a great job of introducing me.
Go, come on.
I'm Jeff.
Jeff is, what are you doing?
I'm doing a couch confession.
Okay. Do we have to restart?
No.
Okay. Jeff is doing every single Ironman in the world.
Yes. Yeah, I'm training to do every Ironman on the globe. Every
single Ironman on the globe. So what is an Ironman?
An Ironman is an ultra-endurance triathlon. So triathlon is an event consisting of 3 disciplines: swim, bike, run. And there are many different distances of the swim, bike, run, but the longest is the Ironman.
Okay.
And that is a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. That's a marathon.
Okay, so you're running a marathon and then swimming and then biking.
Almost. The specific order is swim, bike, run.
Okay.
So you swim 2.4 miles, then you go get on a bike for 112 miles, and then you run a marathon.
So why?
In that order.
The fuck do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this?
Because I'm crazy. I'm obsessed and crazy.
Okay.
Yes. No, I started doing the smaller triathlons. They call them a sprint. A lot of people have done a sprint, right? A half-mile swim, 10-mile bike, and a 5K. And it just grew from there. It just got hooked. And if you're that into triathlon, on your bucket list is an Ironman. It's like...
But every single Ironman?
That's a little extreme. Yeah. But that's... Yeah, it's a little extreme. It's a little much, but it's
What prompted that for you?
To do every single one?
Yeah.
So I honestly felt like it was channeled to me to do this. I had a goal of doing 1 Ironman, and I'll talk about that. After I did 2, I made the decision that I want to do an Ironman on every continent. Except for Antarctica, there's no Ironman race on Antarctica, so it would have been 6 continents. So for a few weeks, I was sitting with the idea of, okay, I'm going to do an Ironman on every continent. That's doable. Ironman's a global brand. They have them on every continent. They have them in several different countries, obviously. And then it was just hit me. No, you're not going to do every continent. You're going to do every one. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do every one. And I frantically reached for a piece of paper and a pen and started to research where they were, how many there are. I didn't even know how many there were at that point. I just knew they were all over the globe. I frantically searched where they were, how many there were. I started to group them based on countries and continents and what part of the year they were in. And then as soon as I got home, I put it all in an Excel spreadsheet and I made my list of the events and when I was going to do them and how far apart they were going to be, and based on my schedule, my personal life schedule. So I was invested in it as soon as I was told to do it. Yep.
You felt it in your bones.
I felt it, yeah.
Okay. So what was your life like before you started doing this?
Ironman specifically?
No, in general. I mean, he's had a massive glow up, which I'm trying to get into. Jeff has definitely an athlete at heart and has struggled with different parts of his life where he's come in and come out of taking ownership of that, and struggled with depression and anxiety and different parts of yourself that you battle throughout your life, and those take over and then you take over them at points, and you've had such a massive transformation in that space and sat with that, and what you're doing is so mindset oriented. The amount of mental clarity that you need to have to be able to perform at this level just to train to do something like this, let alone actually execute the race. let alone execute the race. Like every race across the board is incredible. It's incredible mental health, I guess you can say, right? But you,
thank you.
You weren't always that healthy with your mind.
Correct. I would say from an athlete's perspective and determination and believing in myself and having confidence in myself to perform at a certain level, that has always been healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point in 2015, I got into a bike accident and shattered my wrist during a race. It was a half Ironman race. And that is where things started to go downhill. That is where I started to let myself go. I was actually at that point in my life, which was 8-9 years ago, I was at an athletic peak for me. I qualified and raced for Team USA Triathlon, and I was very fit and very healthy and very fast and felt great. And then the accident happened and life spiraled for me. I put on, over the course of several years, I put on probably 100 pounds. I was not training. I couldn't train. I didn't want to train. And with all of that, not living my identity of who I am as an athlete and putting on weight, I was miserable. I was depressed. And it got to the point where, before everything turned around for me, I was in bed. I didn't want to get out of bed. I couldn't get out of bed. You know, I had so many imbalances and deficiencies in my body. Getting out of bed was a big thing to do that day. And I just wasn't happy in, I don't want to say just the body, but the person in totality of who I was, the mindset of where I was. I knew I could do these things and I wanted to do these things. I have a son. I wanted to show him, you know, it's my job to show him how to be healthy, not just physically, but mentally, and have determination and drive and succeed in life. And I would have to put on kind of like a front in front of him to let him see that I'm not depressed, even though, you know, he probably knew, but I would have to put on a front so he didn't know how bad it was. Let's just put it that way. He didn't know how bad it was. And I didn't want to live like that anymore. And one day I just got out of bed and I decided to put one foot in front of another. And I did that again the next day and the next day. And those steps started adding up. I started by walking. It was just walking with my thoughts around the neighborhood. Writing things down, and obviously I started mental therapy with a provider and started taking care of my body and the things that I was eating, and sooner or later I was able to gradually get to a place where I could run, could jog, and it just, you know, step by step grew from there. Never did I thought I would do an Ironman. I wanted to, and very soon into that process, I reached out to a coach to get triathlon training, and I signed up for an Ironman. I was not ready, but that's all part of it. When are you ever ready to do it? Ready. So you gotta hit the payment button, the $1,000 freaking payment button to do the race. Yeah. That's what's gonna get you motivated. That's what gets most people motivated. Because you're not getting that full $1,000 back if you don't do it. That's how I feel about coaching payments. As soon as you pay a coach, you show the fuck up for yourself. Yes. And it has nothing to do with anything except the check. Right. It's not about money. It's about you taking ownership of your self-worth to show up for yourself. So why are you showing us on social media now? Besides me making him do it. I'm making him do it. So, yes, you are the driving force behind the social media presence. And the first conversation you and I had, I remember telling you that I train, I'm doing this, and I don't know why. I feel like I don't have a purpose of what I'm doing. And then the suggestion was made that people need to hear the story. Yeah. And people need to know where I came from. You know, again, Not that I was just 275 pounds, but before that, I was 175 pounds, racing for Team USA. Then I went to 275, and now I'm back down again 100 pounds. So it's not just starting from here and then getting to that, that great body comp and being able to race like that. I started from a place where I was on top. And it's, I don't know, it's hard no matter what, but it's almost harder knowing where you were and then losing it completely and then getting back. And, I feel like my purpose now is to motivate people to let them know what's possible for them. And it doesn't have to be an Ironman. It could be anything, but to have the courage and the confidence in themselves to put one step in front of the other. That's the only thing you have to do for that day, for that moment in time. And look where it's led to. Because I made a decision to get out of bed. I made a decision to get off the couch and to turn the TV off and do something physical. And it turned into a freaking force to be reckoned with. So my purpose now, I feel like I have to share this story, share my background, share the successes that I've made, the hurdles that I've had to overcome, and then along this journey, the hurdles that I'm going to have to overcome mentally and physically, to inspire and motivate people and provide them information on how to do something in their life that maybe they want to do and they don't think is possible, or they want to do and they feel like they can't do for whatever physical or mental reason. So I hope it reaches as many people as it needs to reach, so that people can transform their lives. Because I'm certainly happier now than I was before.
What else has changed in your life?
In terms of?
Anything across the board. I noticed, like, when I started working on myself, I noticed people leaving my life that were unhealthy. I noticed healthier relationships showing up. I noticed I was alone a lot more. I noticed, loneliness was a big thing for me because it felt like everyone was gone, and when you start going inward, it's like you're creating space, but at the time you don't realize that, and you kind of take it personal a little bit, and I noticed a lot of different changes like that.
That's 100% accurate. So for 18 months, I was alone, I was isolated, and I was working on myself physically and mentally and spiritually. Did a lot of Joe Dispenza's work. Mm-hmm. And just by nature of triathlon, most of the time you're alone. Just by the nature of the sport and how you have to train and where you have to train and how much you have to train. It's not like going to play pickup basketball. It's different. So I was alone a lot and kind of redeveloped my identity. And once you recognize your self-worth and you redesign your identity of who you are, you step into a new person. And yes, there are relationships in your life that will fall apart because that relationship is based on other values or another identity, something that you don't vibe with anymore. Mm-hmm. And then there are relationships that you'll step into where you vibe and you're on a whole different level. So that's absolutely true.
It's like your frequency changes and you start attracting similar frequencies.
Yes.
And the others don't fit anymore.
They don't fit, and I've learned to be okay with that.
Yeah, it's hard.
That trying to hold on to those relationships can be not healthy. Just be aware of it, and whatever happens, but you don't want people in your life that aren't supportive of who you truly are and how you truly see yourself and what you truly want to aspire and reach for yourself. And if people are holding you back, then you're not showing up for yourself. You're showing up for them. And the first thing that you have to do at any of this is to show up for yourself. You have to show up for yourself so that you can show up for other people. So if you show up for yourself the right way, those people in your life that you're able to show up for will be a healthier relationship with the new people that you vibe with.
What is your training schedule like right now?
This week, or
yeah, let's talk about this. This has been a week. It's been a week.
It's been 3 weeks. So I'm doing Ironman Arizona. Today is December. Is it December?
No.
No. Today is October 23rd, and Ironman Arizona is November 17th. So it's right around the corner, about 3.5 weeks away. So when you lead up to a race, you have a build phase, and it builds in stages. So you start from here, you have a base phase, and then you have some build phases. And my hand's going up because that's the amount of volume of training that goes up. Then once you get to the end of your build, you taper until you get to the race. So your body is recovered and you're healthy. So I'm at the top of the peak right now with the build, which means a lot of volume. Probably this week will be 23 hours of training. Last week was 22. The week before was 21. So 15,000 yards of swimming, 220 miles of biking, 35 miles to 40 miles of running per week. In addition to that, 3 lifts a week, strength training. So it's intense, mentally, physically, it's very challenging, especially the 3rd week, because your body is tired from the previous 2 weeks. But after this week, I get a taper, and then another taper, and then it's race week. So it's been challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is the hardest thing you've ever done?
In terms of training?
No.
No?
In terms of life.
The hardest thing that I have going on, and the hardest thing is being a single father.
Okay.
It is an emotional roller coaster because you care so much about your child and you want the best for them. And you see them go through things in their life that they have to go through, and you can't step in all the time. And just being a single father, I'm my son's best friend. I'm his father. We go to Celtics games together. We go to football games. We travel. We do a lot of great things together. But I'm also the disciplinarian, right? So I have to wear a lot of hats when it comes to him, and I have to teach him certain things about what to do and what not to do. So it's hard to be the heavy hitter and the friend and the companion and the support system all at once. But it's very rewarding. He's my inspiration. And throughout this, I hope I'm teaching him that he can do anything that he puts his mind to. That's something he tells himself every night. I can do anything I put my mind to. And that's all part of this. Because at one point, I don't know if we mentioned this, I thought doing one Ironman, doing a marathon, thousands of people do marathons, hundreds of thousands. I thought doing a marathon was impossible, let alone an Ironman. And my son has big goals for himself, and those are his goals, and I will support him in any capacity that I can. But I need him to know and truly believe that if he works hard and he has the right mindset, then all of those things can happen for him. So I hope that I'm showing him through example.
You absolutely are. He's doing this. I'm witnessing it.
Yeah.
Front row.
If it's sinking in, I don't know, but
that you're not in charge of that part.
I guess so. Yeah.
But you're doing the other part really well.
Thank you.
I don't know if he understands, like, he's 11. I don't know if any 11-year-olds understand the vastness of what this is. I don't even know if fucking adults understand the vastness of what you are doing.
No. Most people don't know what an Ironman is. Most people don't know what a triathlon is.
Let alone all of them.
Yeah.
So, I can't imagine an 11-year-old can even process.
Well, he sees what I do, how I train.
But a slice of it. He goes to school too. He doesn't see.
Oh no, he does. I do all my training when he's at school.
Right.
Yes. So no, he doesn't see all of it. But when he was little, he used to be at all my races. But this will be the first Ironman that he'll be at. So I'm excited about that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
What else do you want to tell these people? I am personally incredibly proud of this human being and honored to be in his life. To the point where I wanted to make him do this, actually, so he could like share his story with people, because just sitting here, like, I've heard this story and I'm part of witnessing this story right now, and I almost was brought to tears listening to you talk 5 minutes ago, and I am in it. So I am honored to be able to be part of this and to be able to support you through this process.
Thank you. I appreciate your support. Been very supportive and encouraging to do this. The social aspect of it.
Yeah, it's a beast.
Yeah. So that's the second most challenging part of life right now.
Social is TikTok.
Yes, that's the second most challenging thing.
It's an arena.
It is.
And you put yourself out there very vulnerably.
Yeah, like, it was, okay, I guess I'm doing this. Shirts off, the before pictures, right? I've never shared those, but the before pictures are...
Why would you? Why would you ever share that?
Yeah, but I've come a long way, and I'm owning it. And I guess I would want people to see what's possible for them with the right mindset. People need to know what they're capable of, what their bodies and what their minds are capable of. And again, it doesn't have to be an Ironman. It could be being a better father. It could be starting a business. It's all the same ingredients in the blueprint. It's the same ingredients. It's the mindset. It's the dedication.
Consistency.
It's the consistency, showing up for yourself first.
Every fucking day.
Showing up for yourself in some capacity. And then that's when the ingredients start to cook and you get that finished product. I mean, it's never really finished, but you get a product that, like, okay, I can work with this. We got something going. But I want people to know what's possible for them and for their lives, because my life has changed significantly through this. Even to the point where, like I said, I didn't have a purpose.
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, give me a week.
I didn't have a purpose. Why am I doing this? Who cares? Who cares, right?
Everybody cares, because you become an example of what's possible. Like, whether you want to or not. Whether you choose that or not, you are that, because you chose you. Yeah. And someone's going to see you and be like, if he can do it, I can do it.
That's the point.
And
I'm just a normal guy.
Just a normal human.
Just a normal person. And people at the YMCA that I swim with, they'll say I'm inspirational. And I guess I just want to put this out there that, you know, was not comfortable going on social media, and I'm not doing this from an ego perspective, but it feels good to own it. So that's the other thing, people, like, own your shit.
That's one of the hardest parts of doing stuff like this is, from my experience, like, we have a similar history with our own struggles. We have similarities in our own struggles and our own weight loss and our own healing. And the hardest part for me has been accepting this version of me, owning the shit out of this, and then putting it out there. And being okay with whatever that response is, 90% of it is positive, 10% of it is negative from everybody else's shit. But like really taking full fucking ownership that I look like this now, that I feel like this now, that I built this thing that's doing its thing, that I guess acceptance of greatness or acceptance of myself and like my capabilities and my abilities, the hardest fucking thing for me to do. And it took me until I was 45 to even tell people the degrees I have or my career path, right? And I've always hid behind other owners and other companies and really finally being like, I fucking done this for how many of these people? Now I get to do it for my fucking self and take full ownership of this and tell people that I'm doing it and step out into the spotlight. Hardest fucking thing. Hardest thing ever. And still, I was telling you the last Costa Rica trip, those photos, that video, on the flight home, crying my eyes out, looking at my own images because I don't see myself the way that those pictures show. I don't see myself. I showed him a video earlier that I posted. I was like, when I took this video, I thought I was fat. And like, that's my version, because I see my old self.
Yes.
I see the broken me, right? Not this, whatever it is right now, but like this healed version of me. I still see like, I have the filter of this old version of me, and I have been shown this new version of me to the point where we're in like, I don't know, 15 photo shoots later, and I'm being like hired by companies and I'm still blind to it, right? And that's the hardest part of it, is being like, fuck it, this is me and I'm awesome. I gotta be okay with it.
How many times have I asked you recently, do I really look like that?
Yes, constantly.
Because I see the photos that you take, that I take, and I put up, and I'm like, I don't look like that.
Right.
I ask you, do I really look like that?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So now I need to own it, but starting from the beginning, own your shit every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't make progress if you can't accept and acknowledge where you're at in the moment.
Yeah, 100.
You can't go from A to Z. You have to go to B.
And it's never linear.
It's not linear.
Not linear.
But you have to accept, acknowledge, and own where you are in the moment. I know that there's still a better version of me yet to come in many different arenas of life. And I'm going to look back at this version someday and be like, wow, look how far I've come. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's a progress, but own it for sure.
It's almost like you have to have this level of delusional optimism about what you can accomplish. Like, I personally know I could accomplish anything. I could start any company. I could be successful in anything that I put my mind to, physically, mentally. And I think you have that same belief in self. Like, there's nothing that's going to stop me. I'll figure it out. Like, it'll get done. Like, nothing will stop me.
Yes. And that's what it's turned into, for sure. After thinking that an Ironman was impossible to do for myself, first time I crossed the finish line, my vision opened up. It was such a liberating feeling to know that I did something I thought was impossible. What next? Let's start crossing more things off the list.
Mm-hmm. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think that's the end of this couch confession. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That was fun.
Right?